Okay, what the population of Toronto is less white people from a European background are less than 50% of the population.
Population of Toronto.
Yeah.
Has what 50% less? Which one?
Whites.
No, I don't believe that.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know what it is exactly, but it's less than 50% in Toronto.
Less than 50% white people.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's true. It's very much true. Just look around.
I go out on the street and I see only white people.
No, your eyesight isn't too good. So maybe what you think is a white person, maybe it's actually Asian or...
Yeah.
It's more suburban here, so there's going to be more white people here. But even here, it's not so white. I mean, there's Indians, there's Asians here. Look at the people who work.
But you don't...
The people who work here. Nothing against them, but a lot of the women who work here are Filipinas or blacks.
Well, blacks I don't see.
You don't see that very often because you wouldn't go to that part of the city. But in where I live, where I live in my neighborhood, you know, Northwest Toronto, York, is less. It's white English-speaking people are maybe 10% to 15%.
Oh, don't tell me that.
Yeah, there's a lot of Portuguese immigrants, and the Portuguese are white, so more or less, but they don't speak English and they're a different culture. And some of them don't seem to be interested in even assimilating. But it's not just Portuguese. There's lots of Latinos from Mexico, from Colombia, from Central America.
Is that right?
I hear Spanish and Portuguese, the #1 language when I'm on the street. But lots of black people, maybe 25% blacks. And they're not, the blacks aren't immigrants, the blacks are historic, they've been in Canada for many generations. But then there's also Jamaicans. The Jamaicans, they are immigrants, or maybe second generation. So there's lots of Jamaicans, blacks, there's some Asians, there's some Vietnamese, Thai. But whites are...
Where do you see them?
What do you mean? All over the place. Whites are less than 50% in Toronto. And you lived in England for 10 years, when England was very white. But now, England has many Muslims from the Middle East, from Pakistan as well, which is in South Asia.
That's right.
And in the city of London, it's more than 50%, maybe I've heard 40%, maybe 50%, maybe 60% Pakistani.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah, it's
Pakistani.
It's
Why
true.
do they let them in?
Do you think that's a problem?
Well, of course it must be.
I agree, but I would like to know your explanation for why it can be, you know, undesirable. Why should it cut? Because people want to open the borders to everyone from around the world.
Well, opening the border is all right, but that means very little mixing in. You see, for instance, if you make something, a big mix, whatever it is, food or whatever, you don't overwhelm the thing with huge quantities. You mix in slowly so that you don't even see that the pattern or color changes.
Right. Yeah.
That's how it should be, and no sudden explosion of some specific type.
Yeah, that's what we're getting. We're getting that now. So
that's bad.
Right. The government predicts that white people could be less than 30% of the population in 1 or 2 generations.
Oh boy.
Well, maybe a few generations, but by the end of the century.
Oh boy.
And then, so everyone else is voting in Canada. So they can outvote us.
They would.
Right, yeah. They do.
would.
They do already.
Well, that's crazy.